Yeah, so thank you for having me on,
Sure.
and happy to be here. Obviously, a highly disruptive day in the market. We're clearly seeing investors react strongly to stocks that they think have a high, international supply chain exposure. I do think this is where Wayfair is different. We operate ultimately a marketplace model. And so this means that we work with 20,000 suppliers across the US and around the globe. And we have an ability to pivot across these suppliers, as demand and needs change. And our opportunity here is that we can show the customer what the best product is for them based on price, quality, et cetera. And that can really dynamically move, as potentially wholesales change and as tariffs change.
So can I just ask you then, Kate, so since you have a global supply chain, different markets, does that mean some of the markets that you operate in or you get your goods from that they did not have tariffs imposed on them?
Well, we've seen virtually, every country ex-US have some level of tariffs. We work though with domestic suppliers as well,
Okay.
so we have a strong domestic supplier base, and then we work with suppliers, across the globe. And I think what's a little bit different though versus somebody who has, say, a product that is built to spec in a specific geography, right? Where they have designed the product, they have a manufacturer that they work with in that geography, they have a contract for how much they're going to procure, is we're not buying the inventory and we
Hmm.
don't have products built to spec. We also sell a lot of very similar, highly substitutable products. So, for example, if you're looking for a bar stool, we may have bar stools from several different geographies, and our suppliers are going to be focused on how do they get that top slot in the sort of homepage as you get into it so that they get the most conversion on that product, and part of that comes down to price. And so we create a naturally competitive dynamic through the marketplace, and we're able to sort of lean into where prices are most efficient or where lean out of maybe where they're less efficient.
Kate, products that are bought on Wayfair right now, what percentage of them come from inside of the US versus outside of the US?
Yeah, we actually haven't given a breakdown by geography because of it's so dynamic, right? So it moves around quite a bit based on where you are in the sort order. So what happens is as the wholesales change, our take rate stays the same. As the wholesales change, your product may move up or down because it's perceived as more or less, attractive to the consumer. And within that, then you might see changes in what supplier is getting more volume and then therefore what geography is getting more volume. So it moves around quite a bit.
Kate, hang on for a second. Just a headline crossing the Bloomberg terminal. This is coming from the president making some comments saying Elon Musk may depart in a few months. Also saying, let me just check, he can stay as long as he wants. The president continuing on and saying that Elon Musk can stay as long as he wants, but again, saying that he may depart in a few months. The president also saying he likes interest rates going down. And we certainly have seen all along the U.S. Treasury curve, the rate market move down. So that has certainly happened, but that is fears over growth slowing down in the United States. Let's continue with Kate Gulliver.
Hey, Kate, on not on Elon Musk. I'm not going to ask you to comment on that. I want to go back to where your products are made. You can if you feel free. I'm wondering about comments that the president has made in the past. I believe, and I don't have the comments in front of me, but he said something along the lines of, what happened to the American furniture industry? We used to make so much great furniture, and I believe he called out North Carolina as a state where we made furniture. Is it realistic in your business to buy more products that are made in the US? Is it possible we see a return to manufacturing furniture in the US? I mean, high-end furniture still is, but let's be real. Not a lot of the furniture that Americans buy is made in the US.
Yeah, so we operate obviously a mass market brand, right? Wayfair sells, for the average American consumer. We do have a high-end brand called Perigold. Their sourcing can, be a little bit different than Wayfair as a whole. What we're focused on is being able to source and show the best product. So if that product is more competitive in the US, then we can show that product to our customer. If that product is more competitive in a different geography, then we actually have the capability to get that product to the country, deliver it efficiently to the customer. You've seen, obviously huge improvements in logistics. We have a US, logistics infrastructure that allows us to do that. So Certainly if you saw U.S. manufacturing return, we would be able to continue to work with, U.S. suppliers there and potentially continue to expand there. But we want to focus on what delivers the best value for our consumer. That is our, maniacal focus. And it's what has allowed us to take share over the last several years. It's been a very disruptive period for the category as a whole. And we've continued to be a share gainer. And we do that by continually offering the customer the best value proposition.
So on that, because you have thought about the customer and putting them first so often, and I am curious, Kate, will you guys have to raise prices at all? Will any of this that's happening in terms of tariffs, will you have to pass higher costs along to your customer?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the way that our pricing model works is because we're not taking the inventory, the supplier of that product sets the wholesales, and then we apply a take rate on top of that, right? And so if wholesales go up and the take rate stays the same, you may see differences in prices. That's where it's really our responsibility to work with that supplier and help them understand the demand impact of that. Because we sell, as I said, many bar stools that might look similar. If one supplier raises price and one supplier keeps price competitive, right, keeps wholesale competitive, they will get more demand. More demand will accrue to that supplier, which may be better for that supplier overall. So it's really important that our team work very closely with the suppliers to help them see this data, be very transparent, help them understand other ways they can grow volume with us. We recently launched our Wayfair Verified program that's designed to make the shopping experience easier for the consumer. It points out to her products that we have vetted, that we know to be high quality and really meet the bar. That's a great way for you to consolidate demand in a category if you're a supplier during a period like this of disruption. And so we think that there will be suppliers that, win out in the marketplace in this model.